Like Morning Mean Girls.
Hey guys, welcome. We're gonna be getting started in just a
Good evening.
second. Just waiting for everybody to trickle in. While we're waiting for everybody to join, um, uh-oh. Sorry, I gotta manually let everybody in. While we're waiting for everybody to join, how's y'all's day going? What's going on? Where y'all at? Yeah, working. Hey, Miss Keisha, I see you came off mute. You about to say something?
I don't know how to go back on, girl. I don't know how to do this.
I muted for you, okay? There you go. Unless you wanted to say something, then you can come off mute, but it should be a little mic button on there for you to unmute. Let me see. Just so that everybody's on the same page, this call is intended for um, funding purposes to give you like strategies and ideas on creative funding strategies. Our speaker tonight is super knowledgeable. Um, Looks like she's jumping in now. The speaker tonight is super knowledgeable. She's approved. Sorry, y'all. I gotta manually approve everything, so it'd be throwing my thought process out. But she's super knowledgeable. She's ready to jump in and help you guys. Miss Lavetta, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
I was just giving them a brief introduction while everybody was jumping in, but if you want to take a second and just tell everybody like your background, who you are, all of that stuff, and we can kind of get into it.
Sure. So I am, I was wondering, see where to start. Uh, been in the funding and credit space for a little over 3 going on 4 years now. This has been a kind of like a passion project of mine in terms of helping others learn how to leverage their credit to live their lives as lazy as possible. Is the best way I say it. That's the name of my business is called Lazy Life Consulting. And this has been, I started off as a makeup artist doing makeup for women in finance. So serving women has always been a part of my life trajectory I guess, from the beginning and, but serving women in a different standpoint. But of course, keeping my eyes and ears open, was able to get an understanding of how business owners are able to leverage debt and leverage their credit to get access to the funding that they need to grow out their income streams and then of course contribute to the life that they want to show up as. So yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes from the process of entrepreneurship. And the way that I teach is I use a lot of examples, but I'm also able to leverage life examples. I'm able to leverage examples that I've heard from other clients in terms of, getting helping you see what needs to be seen or make decisions based on what makes the most sense for you and what your goals are. So that's just a general overview. I didn't really know exactly where to touch on, but I'm open to. My goal here is at least just to be a source of kind of be a sponge to absorb what it is that you're looking for, answer questions based on my expertise, and then if it makes sense, then we can always have a private call and look at your profile and see how close or far you are to your target. So yeah.
And then also just like super important points that you share with me. If you could just share, like, I know you said in the big, you were able to do like credit repair early on from like, it was taking 6 to 9 months, and now you've like got that time cut in half, and then just some of the results you've been able to get from your process.
Yes, so we have different types of processes. I mean, the average, like when it comes to credit repair, I'll definitely say the average time frame that credit takes is roughly 6 to 9 months. We do have processes where, as of recent, that we've been able to see it being, things being removed within 30 days, 30 to 60 days or so. And then depending on how quickly you're needing to get it done, we can get it done. We've seen clients getting their credit cleared within 2 weeks or less. But again, we don't like to overpromise and underdeliver. So the average time frame that we've been seeing at the earliest is within 30 days or less.
Okay,
Just,
awesome. I just thought that was impressive. I'm like,
oh, thank you.
two
No,
weeks, 30 days, that's like that's the next level. So I'll let you, I'm gonna stop interrupting. I'm gonna let you do your spiel, teach whatever you came to teach tonight. And if you guys have questions, put them in the chat first, unless you want to just do a Q&A at the end. How do you want to handle that?
yes, so we can just do a Q&A at the end. Let me see here. Give me one moment.
I know we don't have you forever, so it's, as time permits, if there's room for that.
Yeah. So my goal for this call was more so I had some general bullet points prepared, but my goal for this call was to just kind of have it like as an open Q&A to just get a better understanding of what the average person looks when it comes to your credit. What are the biggest concerns that you have, and then just kind of let it flow from there. I'm just need to get this pulled up real quick.
Okay. And then last thing, everybody's coming from different ranges. Some people are needing credit repairs. Some of us are like funding or looking for funding. So, you'll get a mixed bag of everything, but I'll let you guys kind of jump off mute, ask your questions. And then if nobody has any questions, you can just go through the general process and the different options. I think what's important is that people know what options they have to be able to access the amount of funding that, we're looking for. And then also like how much funding is possible. Is it a limit? Can we only get 25,000? Can we get 100,000? Like those kind of things we can kind of get into as well.
Okay, so I think what I can do is I will just kind of start with the bit that I share with the average person when it comes to, let's say, if they're on a credit strategy call where I start from. And so and then I think that will kind of inspire some questions from there. But before I get into that, I do want to, so that no need to pull up the information I was going to pull up, but because I don't want to go too far, too wide or too narrow. I do want to just take a look in the chat. If anyone can, put a fire or a hand in the chat or a me in the chat for those who, let's say, are business owners. Just comment me in the chat or okay. Anyone else? So Chef Nyla is a business owner. Anyone else a business owner? Okay, okay, Paradise. Okay. Um, see, I want to make sure because I want to tailor what it is that I speak to the people that are here. So how many people in here are looking for funding? Let's just say that. Like whether that is to start your business or to start a side hustle? Who's looking for funding specifically? So Chef Nyla, Paradise, noted. I have you guys in mind. Anyone else in particular? Probably not. Okay, that's fine. And so, what I'll do, my goal is to talk about credit from the standpoint, and okay, Keisha, perfect. So my goal is to talk about credit from the standpoint of you needing funding, because the whole point of credit is to use it for something. So the average, people don't realize that as long as you have a social security number, you are already like 10 steps ahead than the average person in the world. I mean, regardless of what side of capitalism you may be on, there is things to be able to take you have a lot to take advantage.
Click open file.
Let's if we can mute everyone. My apologies. But so regardless of what side of capitalism you are, you have a lot to work with when you have a social security number that you can use, set up and build out your business. So the average person thinks, like, when it comes to, oh, okay, I'm a business owner, and so I'm looking for money to build out my business. The average person thinks that your personal credit is not going to be considered, and that's far from untrue. So with what I do for a living, not only do I consult small business owners on what they are needing to get funding from banks and lenders, I am in constant conversation with bankers who are having who are looking at these files and making decisions on if or not they want to, on if or not they are going to approve someone for funding. And so one of the main things that they look at is the strength of your credit profile. So again, another average, like the average person that may think of, oh, well, I have a 700 credit score, so why am I not getting approved for anything? Or if I am getting approved, I'm getting approved for really low amounts, and really high interest. So again, banks and lenders, they don't really look at your credit score. They almost certainly don't look at your credit score. They look at your credit profile and how that is built out. Your credit score is just an indicator on what your credit profile would look like. And so that's why if someone were to ask you what's your credit score, then they're asking that so that they can at least have an idea of what it is that your credit profile would look like. But the star of the show is and has always been your credit profile and certain things that are happening there. So when we look at your credit profile in terms of setting it up so that our goal is, if you're looking for funding, then we need to have your credit profile look like what the banks and lenders want to see in order to get you approved. And so the one of the examples that I give, it's been holding strong for as long as I've been consulting this, has been the bank and lender is very similar to a hiring manager when you are looking to get a job. So when you're looking to get a job, you're going to be asked for, like, what is going to be the number one thing that you're going to be asked for from a hiring manager when they are looking to consider you for a job? If anyone could put that in the chat. Just want to make sure that people are following me here with this example. So if a hiring manager, so by the way, guys, I asked for us to be active in the chat, just so the question is, if there is a hiring manager that is looking to consider you for a job, what are they going to ask of you in order for them to make a decision on if or not you are capable of doing the job? So the 4 ATL, you got that correct. They're going to look for your resume. They ask for your resume. So almost immediately, because they can't make a decision on you being hired without them looking at your resume. So your credit profile is very similar to that of a resume. the way that the resume is going to, and Chef Nyla said the capacity to do the job, exactly. But the way that they get that is by asking for your resume, because on that resume, it's going to have what? Let me know in the chat.
Your history. I'm sorry. I done messed up my screen. I'm trying to fix it so I can't pull my chat up yet. That's the only reason I
Okay,
unmuted.
that's fine. Yeah, feel free to shout it out too. That's if that's easier for you. So yes, it's going to have your history. It's going to have more specifically your experience. So I'm going to go back and forth with the example. So hiring manager looks for your resume so that they can review your experience in the same way that a bank and lender is going to ask for your credit profile or inquire about your credit profile so that they can look at your credit history. Both things are synonymous, because they want to be able to make sure from a hiring manager standpoint, they want to be able to make sure that you're trying to get the job of let's say a manager. They want to be able to make sure that you have manager experience, not just any experience. So if they look at your profile and or your resume, and it looks like all the experience that you've had is that of an assistant or something below a manager, then if they would hire you at all, the best that they could probably be open to hiring you for is an assistant role. Because for all they see, this resume does not have managerial experience. And they would put themselves at risk as a hiring manager. They would pretty much be taking a chance on you, if they were to hire you for a role that according to your resume, you are not equipped for. In the same way, when a bank and a lender is going to look at your profile and consider you for funding, then they're gonna need to see that you have experience handling an X amount of credit. So ideally, they want to see you having lots of experience handling large amounts of credit without any issues in the past. So again, using the example, let me know if this is confusing or whatnot, but put a fire in the chat if you guys are, if this is landing. If it's not, let me know and I'll pivot. So I just want to, make sure. Okay, thank you. Okay, awesome. So a another thing that they look at is experience. So they want to make sure that you have years of experience. So you could be like, oh, I want to go for this managerial job because I have 3 years of experience working for ABC company where I did XYZ, and I was able to be promoted from this to this. I have experience with, EFG company where I was promoted from this to this. Like, you're not going to want to put the information, like if you're going to show your resume, you're not going to want to put the jobs that you got fired from, or the jobs that you got laid off from, or the jobs that you had where you were sent to do a performance improvement plan from, because those are all dings that are going against you and not for you. So, in the same sense, if a bank and lender were to look at your credit profile, no, they're not going to want to see what's considered derogatories, like you had a late payment or multiple late payments or a charge off, which can be, pretty much similar to you getting fired. Late payments can be similar to you getting a performance improvement plan. It's like, hey, because it's like, well, if you were late all these times that you were at work, do I really want to hire someone with bad attendance? No. So, it's the same thing. So if they see these dings against you on your profile, on your credit profile, in the same way as your resume, they're going to be hesitant to hire you. And so the whole point is that we need to, in the same way that you are going on the job search, just in the same way that you're going to go to different places to see about getting funding, you want to this is maybe another analogy, but just like you want to show up in the best way possible. So the first thing that pops into my head is like a dog show where, you pooch and primp and proper that, that dog as need be. And then you have a whole bunch of people, looking up the butt of the dog or, fixing their ears to see if it's the way that they need it to be so that they can give it a score. So again, I jumped from analogies to analogies, so I hope that analogy made sense. But pretty much you're having a whole bunch of different people looking at you so that they see, is this what I'm looking for? One person may give a higher score than the other, based on, so one person may approve you for a high amount, great. One person may approve you for the lowest, fine. Anywho, so I'm going to mainly speak on the credit side now. When banks and lenders look at your report, of course, they're going to need to see experience. They don't want to see one or two credit cards that you opened up 2 months ago. That doesn't show experience. That shows someone that is just dipping their toe into credit. Why would I want to trust them with a $50,000 loan? They wouldn't. Why would I want to even trust them with a $5,000 credit card? That doesn't make sense. Again, because it's like if let's just say like a person with one credit card, that would resemble the credit of say a 16-year-old. So why would they want to give that person 30-year-old credit or like a credit that belongs to a 30-year-old? They would want to give you credit that would be similar to that of a 16-year-old, someone that hasn't touched credit before, so that you can actually start building that up. Or if they approve you at all, because they may not even approve you because they don't want to take that risk. And with things that's been going on with the industry, more and more banks and lenders don't want to take that risk because more and more people are getting access to credit and not paying it off, inflation, multiple reasons. And so having a strong credit profile and understanding how banks and lenders look at a credit profile then gives you exactly what you need to be successful, because then that would be the skill that you can have from then on in terms of understanding how and why, what's going on in the lender's head or what's going on in the hiring manager's head when they're looking to make a decision to give you money. So I'll pause there because I know that was a lot of information. Does anyone have any specific questions I can kind of, break down from there? Or even just does this help at all? Feel free to raise your hand and then I will, let me, if I could even see who's raising their hand. Feel free to, you pretty much would raise your hand by clicking the react. I think it's the heart, and then there's a place there that says raise hand. So if you want to raise your hand, and then we can have I can answer your question from there. You could just hop on and ask your question. No questions? Man, tough crowd. I'm just kidding. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I have a question. I was trying to figure out how to raise my hand. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe some of the rest of them may have the same issue.
Okay. Yeah. Feel free to put it in the chat if that was the case. But like if you were having an issue doing that. But yeah, feel free to just unmute then if that's fine. So yeah, what's your question?
Okay, so my question is for businesses. Is there a best practice for receiving or applying for funding? What would that look like?
So the best way to answer that question is I want to make sure that you are following the steps first before you just go straight to applying for funding. So based on the information that I shared, banks and lenders like to do the phrase for it is called comparable credit. So as a business owner, when you are looking, if you're just going to up and start to apply, if your credit profile doesn't look like the way they're going to look like the way they want it to look like, then you're only going to get approved based on what they see. So if you're a business owner that's looking for $50,000 in credit, or like for $50,000 loan, or $20,000 loan, or an auto for your business, whatever that looks like, they are going to look at your personal credit profile, and and you would want to make sure that your credit profile shows shows certain pointers that says, hey, I am more than capable of handling $50,000 in debt. So to answer your question, I guess from my understanding, the way I'm receiving your question is, what is the best etiquette for someone who's looking to apply? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I guess I'm pretty much trying to figure out, I guess I'm trying to see the best way to word it. If you were going to apply for funding, well, I guess it's like a download to it all. Like, where would you start? If you were to apply for credit or for funding for your business, where would you start and how does that look? Like, I know you're saying to make sure that your personal credit is basically your personal credit profile is up to par first. Um, but after that, what does that look like? Like, where do you go and what do you do when you get there?
Yes. So one, I mean, there are certain banks that have different there are certain banks that have different types of ways that they would approve you, but the way to, like I said, number one, making sure that your profile is correct. Once your profile is correct, then depending on what profile you do, depending on where you are looking to get approved, these banks are going to um, do an inquiry on your report. So there are some banks that may inquire where they will pull from your TransUnion report, pull from your Equifax report, pull from your Experian report, or may pull from all three. So the next thing I would probably do is to then look up different banks and understand where they pull from. And because of course we want to go with the one with the highest score first, ideally. If that's the route that you'd want to go, I would then look up banks that have certain, what's the call, that pull from your best bank or your best bureau, that is reporting the best, if that makes sense. But again, this is kind of where the credit score comes from. So because we have worked with clients where things aren't looking the best across the board. So if I have a let's just say if I have a 765 credit score and a strong credit profile according to what it is that I'm looking for, then I will look to see. But then I have, let's say, a 698 in on Equifax, a 672 on Experian, but then I have like a 725 on TransUnion, then I would be more inclined to find banks that only pull from TransUnion because I want to put my best foot forward. But then again, that's how I would judge what banks I'd want to go to first. But again, I can't stress this enough. It's not just about your score. You have a higher score. Again, it's an indicator about what's going on with your profile, but you want to be able to make sure that your profile aligns with the amount of funding that you're looking for or what type of funding that you're looking for. So, if you are looking to get if you're looking to get a high limit loan, then I'd want to make sure that my account looks like looks like it can be able to handle a loan. So if it doesn't, then I need to not be looking to go get funding and fix those first. Hope that makes sense. I will take another question. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that hopefully that wasn't too confusing. And again, it's kind of hard to explain if there isn't like a profile in front of me in terms of, well, how can I be able to tell the difference? So that's where a private call will kind of come from, where we can be able to take a look at your profile and then see based on what you're looking for. I also want to add that business funding and personal funding, you could still leverage personal funding to build your business. Those are two separate things. You could get business funding, but they require a lot more things outside of just your credit. So if your business isn't, making consistent income, or let's say your address is looking a certain way, or your business isn't old enough, or there are so many other factors that may happen as to where a bank would be wanting to lend specifically to your business versus getting the money, just lending just directly to you as a person, and then you can put that money towards your business so that it can create what they need to see, so that they would just lend to your business. So that was a lot of information there, but I hope that makes sense. So I think the 4 ATL, you can unmute and then add, yeah, you can unmute. While you're unmuting, I'll answer this question I saw in the chat. What would be a good age for your business? The average age of your business would be 2 years. So banks and lenders don't like to lend to any. If you're looking to strictly get funding on your business side, banks and lenders don't like to lend to businesses that are less than 2 years. But again, there are so many other factors outside of just having a 2-year-old business that a bank and lender would look at if you are wanting them to strictly lend to your business. And one of those things is your personal credit. So they still look at your personal credit. And then I'll answer the 4 ATL if you want to unmute, because
Okay. So I guess my question would be, if you can walk me through like step by step. Let's say I know we have to build out the personal credit. Let's say the personal credit is built out properly. And let's say I'm looking to get $100,000 in funding. What kind of strategy would we try to take? This is for my business, be it personal funding or business funding or a combination of the two. What would be like the step-by-step process you would walk me through, with the understanding that my personal credit is you've already structured it, you've looked at it, you like the way it looks to go and get funding? What would be my next steps after that part is done already? And
so
the goal would be like a 6-figure, just as a number, like a 6-figure.
yes. So one, like you said, be open to both business and personal. If your business credit, I mean, sorry, if your personal credit is already structured the way that it needs to look at, then we can go ahead and start with funding on the personal side by looking to see which one of the three bureaus is going to put you, in the best light, and then go for banks and lenders that are solely reporting to that bureau. So that's where the research comes from, in terms of making calls to different banks and lenders and credit unions and all of that to see where they're pulling from. If you are also wanting to also be open to entertain not just loans, but maybe credit cards, because you can leverage that as well, in terms of, again, looking at credit cards on the personal side that report separately. Like when they're going to do an inquiry on your report, they're only going to look at one report versus all three. So I like to find those. I guess the step before that would be see what places can do a soft pull versus a hard pull on your profile. So put together a list of places that would inquire about my credit, but it won't show up as an inquiry on my credit. So that's what a soft pull is. So they could still review your credit and see if you pre-qualify for something without you having to, officially shake your hand and do so. So That way you can have an idea of what's going on there. Because with soft pulls, if you get denied for it and they're saying with the soft pull, we're not able to approve you for anything, more than likely they're still going to give you a denial letter, and it's going to tell you line by line as to why they are not approving you. And that means you need to go back to the drawing board because there's something missing with your personal credit that's not going to be that you need to fix. So this is the same type of thing that you're doing on the business side. You want to see, are there business credit cards or business loans that are going to strictly look at my strong personal credit? Probably not on my business credit yet if I haven't built that side out yet. And then based on that, okay, I'm going to give you a business credit card and then I'm going to look at your TransUnion credit report in order for me to do so. So then you look at your TransUnion, I'm like, okay, this looks great. I can go ahead and apply. But they may also ask for other factors as well if you are looking to get a business credit card. So again, this questions that they would ask are, is your business over 2 years? What type of industry is your business in? Because there are some industries that they do not like to lend to. There are some banks and lenders that are regional where although you may have everything that you need, they may not want to, they're not going to work with you because you are not you are not in that particular region that they service. So if you want to work with that bank, then you may need to set yourself up to where you are in that region. So that may look like getting a foreign entity in that state, or having a certain address that is in that region. So there's a whole bunch of different, things. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds because then it can get super convoluted. And, this is just kind of like an introductory conversation. But if you're looking to get, like you said, if you're looking to get roughly, 6 figures as quickly as possible, with your personal credit, see what you can leverage there first, see what credit cards or loans you can get there. And then you can use what the winnings that you get there to build out the things that's needed on your personal credit, like making sure that you have a business that's over 2 years. If you don't, then you can either A, wait till your business gets to 2 years, or B, purchase a business that is a business entity that's 2 years. That is another story. Again, all these things are different branches that can easily, you know, start to enter its own chain of, okay, what's an H corp? What's, how do I do that? Making sure that you have a strong website, but not just any website, a website that shows that you are in the industry that they prefer, because there are industries that they consider high risk that they either wouldn't want to lend to, or that they will be fine with lending to you, but they're going to ask you for an arm and a leg first. Like, as of now, tutoring is more of a low risk industry where, okay, they may just ask for your personal credit profile, maybe your address, proof of ID, a couple of things like that, and they may give you a $10,000 line of credit or a $10,000 credit card or something like that. But you may have the very same pointers as person A, but but your industry is in real estate, and now all of a sudden they're asking you for 2 years personal tax returns, 2 years business tax returns, an income statement, like a balance sheet, just to get the same amount of funding. So there are isms that can tend to happen in terms of different categories that you want to look at to set yourself up for success if you are looking to get yourself, 6 figures in funding. Um, it's just it requires a conversation. If there is a checkoff, kind of like a checkoff thing in terms of what is needed. But those are just examples to answer your question. I didn't realize that was you. I didn't realize your name was the 4AT. I thought I was looking for Jayla. My bad. But yeah, does that answer your question? I know that was a lot. Let me see.
Was that my question?
No, yeah, the question that you asked in terms
Yeah.
of what is it that if you're looking to get, 6 figures within personal and business credit, what are the next steps?
Yeah.
Those are the next steps.
And what I love too, and I know Paradise has some questions in there, but what I love too is that like if you don't have it, you can kind of get it. Like there's ways around like waiting 2 years. You're like, if we
Yes,
can either wait 2 years or we can just go buy you an LLC that's 2 years old already and circumvent the system. And I know you mentioned like trade lines and building out your credit profile. Like if you don't have a high limit credit card, you just go and become an authorized user and you have access. So I love that there's like, and I'm gonna go back on mute, but I just love that there's options for people who may not be ready. It's like we can go
mhm,
and get them and make you ready really quickly, you know? So I think that's really
absolutely. The way that I tell people is that if you don't have the time, you have to have the money. If you don't have the money, you're gonna have to have the time. And so, you know, or a way to get access to the money, is pretty much so. Personal loans, people be sleeping on those. Like you could literally use that to get stuff set up. If your business isn't making, like I have stories on stories of um of people that, let's say, they they make a lot of money within their business, but because they don't have these certain things going on, they're getting denied left and right from banks and lenders, and they're not sure why. And then fixing these things helps them become successful. Or they aren't making or let's say, people that are making a consistent amount within their business, but have these things set up and now easily able to get, approved for credit in terms of what they're looking for. I want to make sure I'm going through the questions. Okay. So what lenders approve quickly without credit or long business history? So when it comes to lenders, there are there isn't really a quick I can't really speak to what lenders are going to approve quickly because that changes based on what's going on. Like, I don't know. It kind of comes off as if I'm banging you guys across the head in terms of how how important it is to build out your personal profile, because that's going to determine how quickly you get approved for something, and if or not, they're going to start asking for these things, because that's what elongates the process when they're asking you for tax returns or bank statements or pay stubs or any of that information. If you don't have it, then you either have to get it, that's you or you don't get approved for it. So there aren't exactly lenders that approve quickly, is what I'm trying to get at. If you have these things set up, then they'll be approved quickly. And without or long business history, there aren't exactly lenders that will approve you um without having a business that's over 2 years. There are some, but again, they're also looking for other factors as well. Like if you're strictly just going to go towards business funding per se, you may not have long business history. But then now they're asking for the income statements and balance sheets. If you're strictly wanting to go for funding on your business side, and you also have to have a strong credit profile. So it's like, okay, if I don't have, if my business hasn't been around long enough, then they're going to ask me for more documentation, or they're going to want to have a very high ass strong credit profile without lack of, what's the word? Without, excuse my French. So, but if I have a business with a certain age, then they may not be too stringent on me having a super high credit history, or they may only ask for 3 months bank statements versus tax returns or whatnot. So the amount of documentation that they may be asking for is not as high than they would look for. Um, or if you have, let's say, a high age of business and high and strong credit profile, then they may not ask for any documents. Or they may just ask for verification documents versus financial documents. Does this make sense? Feel free to let me know if this
Yeah.
makes sense for. for whoever asked that question in terms of what lenders approve quickly without perfect credit.
Yes.
Okay. So again, we could look, I mean, I could start spewing out names. There are different lenders that have different programs, but again, one, those programs may or may not be currently available right now. So which is like they may be available tomorrow, and I mean like available then and probably not available now. Like I can give you examples of what happened in the past. Like and again, the past is the past. Like that, like those things are, I know there are some of them that weren't available anymore. Again, because as inflation and stuff like that changed, like the 2019 to 2021 era was great for the funding game. There were places that will approve you for a $40,000 credit card with just a soft pull on your TransUnion report, and that it only reports to your business. Yeah, they don't do that no more. They they shut that down with a quickness. And or like for example, Chase, there was a time where with a strong credit profile, you could go to Chase and based on, certain factors, they would approve you for a $75,000 business credit card that only reported to your business. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Now you have to make at least $1 million because half of these things are now being spewed across Instagram or spewed or people misused it or whatever the case is. Now they've shut half of that down, and it's like um you're gonna have to make at least $1 million in business, and in order for them to consider you. And now the highest that they normally approve is 50 now. So it's, there are different types of things. So hold on, you said from your experience, have you noticed any that the odds are higher at getting approved? I don't understand that question. Can you come off of chat and explain? And then you said what is, and then so while you're coming off chat, let me answer this question. What is the age of the business? What is the age of the business is more than 2 years with no credit profile? I'm not understanding that question, Chef Nyla. So
Sorry,
if
I
any of
meant
you,
what if, like, so we have the business registered 2 years plus, but they haven't done business with that business.
what you
So
said,
in
what if,
my situation, I registered my
uh-huh,
business 2 years ago, but I'm only
yes.
just ready to start doing business.
Oh, then that's fine. Like, I mean, like if
Oh,
you
okay.
like they like to see that the business is 2 years old, period. You don't exactly have to have business credit per se to get started because you're going to be using your strong personal credit. So a great story. Again, this person makes I had a client made like $2.3 million a year or so, strong credit profile, and business is over 2 years but still can't get approved for anything. And the reason, based on the questions that I asked him, I was like, there has to be something going on with your business credit. And turns out he had a couple of like MCA loans. Banks and lenders don't like to see MCA loans, because they are going to look at your personal and business credit, but they don't really care too much if your business credit is empty. Some banks do want to see some business credit on there, like those net 30s and all of those, randoms that we can, talk about. But I'm trying to give you what to prioritize. Having the net 30s and all of that isn't too much of something to prioritize if you're looking to just get money to just get started. Because you can whenever you do get a business credit card, that's going to report to your business credit. So, but anywho, in this scenario, again, had from face value, you had everything going for him, but the two main things was his business was in real estate, and he had something going on with his particular business. He had something going on with his business credit. So, can't exactly put the finger on it, but more than likely, because I know that banks and lenders don't like MCAs or MCA loans where they normally associate MCA loans with someone that has a problem with their business because they ask like, why can't you get a regular loan?
Can I
Kind of
ask
thing.
what an MCA loan is?
Merchant capital advance. So it's like it's one of these places where what's it called? They will approve you for X amount, but now they accrue daily interest and want you to pay back on it daily, something like that. And yeah, and I advise this person, you're going to need to get an H corp that has fresh, not even, like a business that is probably around the same age that you have. Again, normally these things cost a good chunk. But you're going to need to you're going to need to get that. And because it's going to be empty, the EIN number is where the business credit accounts are attached to. So you're going to need to get an aged business entity with a fresh EIN number plus your strong credit and watch you get good and watch get approved for something I would say on the low end, because I like to under promise. I mean, under promise and the over deliver. So I was like, on the low end, you'd find yourself getting 10K credit card, 25K credit card. I would say, but if you want to go for a line of credit with that new business, then you're going to have to, more than likely, there are programs out there that would give you a line of credit, but they like to ask for bank statements. So if that entity does not have bank statements because it's still fresh, then you would want to set stuff up to create the numbers that they need to see, whether that is make money within your business so that you have those bank statements under that new business name, or leverage the funding that you got, let's say with a credit card or even another business. There are so many different ways that you can mix and match to make what banks and lenders need to see. That was why I created the foundation of this is all about making sure that the banks and lenders see what they need to see to give you what you need. Because, okay, I need 3 months of bank statements. Then um, it's still going to take 3 months, but you could probably leverage, let's say we got a whole bunch of business credit cards or a whole bunch of personal credit cards, we got a personal loan, whatever that looks like. You can trickle that amount into a business bank account for the last 3 months. And then we can go for a line of credit place that only asks for 3 months of bank statements and give them those bank statements to say what they need to see. And then, they could possibly approve you given everything else is fine. Like, does your website show the right industry? Does it have sometimes like to make sure you have a good business email? Is your address the way they need it to look like? Because they want to make sure that you don't have a virtual address and a physical address. So there is physical address versus virtual, and there are different ways that they look at it. And it could be a whole thing, at least on the business side. So this is why I stress, because there's all these bells and whistles that need to line up at one point in time to get you funding on the business side. If you're needing funds now to get stuff built out, consider getting a personal loan or a personal line of credit or whatnot to get those stuff built out on the business side, because it doesn't matter if you make a shit ton of money and you can show if these things, if they don't see what they need to see on the business side, you're not getting approved. There's just really no way around it. So be open to the types of lending that you would get, whether that's a line of credit, or a loan, or a credit card. Some people are like, oh, I want a line of credit, or I want a loan. Okay, well, if you're not able to get it, then you're just screwed. Or, be open to it being a personal loan or versus like a business loan, because they ask for a whole bunch more. Yeah, I think I answered
I had a
everyone's.
previous question that I had, which was,
Mhm.
I know you had talked about like high risk businesses versus low risk, where you
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
that
like
was what I.
current. Yeah, so like what would be considered like the high risk ones that they look at and they're like, yeah, no.
Great question. So real estate, trucking, anything in the adult industry, cannabis, those ones are, are kind of, that could be obvious, but the more non-obvious ones, I would say, are like, I've seen one where they don't like um pawn shops, they don't like um I think like jewelry. I have to double check and see, but there is an actual list. I can see what I can do to get a list over to you guys, or you can even like look it up. Um, in terms of what's what's going on. But one of the main ones that people don't realize is real estate and trucking. They don't really like those, and so uh, yeah, they don't really like those industries when it comes to getting you approved for something. You could get approved, but everything else needs to be in tip top shape, and you probably won't get approved um with then you probably won't get approved the same amount with someone with the same specs, but they're just simply in a different industry. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Anyone else has a question? Keisha, Cole, Craig, Alicia. Just want to make sure
I have a question.
Mhm.
And partly just because I know everybody's situation a little bit. So I'm curious if someone is looking to start, let's say, a nonprofit, does the funding process look the same?
Absolutely not. It's nonprofit, so you can't like I have helped someone get money for nonprofit, but it would be through like because it's a nonprofit, there are leveraging the banking system to get money for a nonprofit doesn't make sense because they want to be able to see profit. It's just as simple as that. But that doesn't mean you can't go and get money to put towards a nonprofit. It's just going to have to be under a business entity. So you can take that money and use it for however, whatever the heck you want to use, including setting up the foundation for your nonprofit. But um, leveraging the if you're gonna want to take advantage of using your credit to get money for your get credit at to get money for your nonprofit, then they're gonna need to see um then it won't be for your nonprofit, if that makes sense. Like they are not knowing that this is for your nonprofit. You would just get it leveraging your credit and then you put that towards funding your nonprofit. Or you could set up a separate entity. Like I know someone that has a nonprofit, that's their next venture to build out their nonprofit, but they had an old what's it called, hair stylist um LLC that they had way back when. And as long as they don't have any like bad credit cards or anything like that, any negative history with that entity, then I'm like, okay, well then let's revive that entity. Let's, if the um, if the Secretary of State if the Secretary of State for that particular state allows for that LLC to be revived, then let's use that, and that's an H corp. But if you don't have that, then you can also purchase an H corp. And then there again, so many different bells and whistles on the business side that is going to be needed if you're wanting to get funding for the business. Like I just listed, making sure that your business is over 2 years, making sure that your filing with the state is up to date, making sure that if it has a certain industry assigned there, then that industry is showing in a low risk industry, making sure that the address is not a virtual address and it's a physical address within that state. Some banks don't even want to see the registered agent beyond that state. Like there is, there's all of those. There's just, but yeah, I can go on and on about that. So would it be important to start with a for-profit and then have a nonprofit arm? So when it comes to business formation, I have some I have some general ideas on business formation, but I would always just advise to go speak with a professional that is in business formation. Like when it comes to, oh, I'm gonna have a what's it called? I'm gonna have a shell company and then have a couple LLCs under that I'm not the best I'm not the best for those. And of course, that will be partnered with your tax preparer to make sure that all of that makes sense. What I'm more so speaking to, Paradise, is if you're looking to get funding for your nonprofit, if you're looking to get funds to put towards setting up your nonprofit, it can be as simple as leveraging your credit to get a personal loan, and that money goes towards your nonprofit, or leveraging an aged entity that you had in the past. It doesn't need to be branded towards your nonprofit, or like it could be it can be like I'm like, for example, my brother had a artist LLC in the past but was looking to get funding for his what was he doing at the time, I think like his solar company. So I'm like, okay, well, you can change that entity name. If you can reinstate that entity, you could change that entity name to that of your solar company and go get funding there. Or if you already have an entity for your solar company, then you could just still leverage this entity separately, set it up, and so that it online, it looks like a full-fledged running business, and leverage that to get funding and then use that to put towards your funding business. There's so many reasons why people may need a separate entity to get access to funding. Another example could be, let's say your business entity has multiple owners and you don't want, when a bank sees that they have multiple owners, a lot of times they want information on every single owner. So to avoid that, you can get a separate entity that it just has you as the owner and get the funding that way, and then use that to put towards the business, however you'd want to do it. But again, it's a whole branch that can get into little things there. What is the difference between microloans and working capital loans? So, not my best specialty when it comes to microloans or working capital. But they, from what because I don't really work within that space. I just know that with microloans specifically, like these are these are loans that I guess they look at the business owner in terms of who they are. Like there may be microloans that are available to Black female business owners or disabled business owners or LGBTQ business owners or different types of things. A lot of times they require you to come into the bank. They require, like, they're going to look at your business, if that makes sense. I do what I could to help you get money to set up whatever you need to set up, whether that's your business or your life. So um if you don't have all these specifics set up within your business as of yet, to then walk into a bank and be like, hey, I have all these things, you do need to eventually have them so that you can easily just walk into any bank and they will give you funding because, oh, one bank is asking for 2 years tax returns and an income statement and a balance sheet, you got it. One bank is asking for a couple bank statements, you got it. Like you have all of that all set up. But in the event that you don't have that set up, that's kind of where I'm coming in terms of consulting you through different types of things. But I think that's where I'll put a pause at. Um I do consult with this, privately, and the services that I offer mainly is I help you get personal funding. I consult you through the process of getting business funding, and that's the route that you want to go. But regardless of whether or not you are getting personal or business funding, even if you want to go as far as like getting an SBA loan or having those specific things, in almost all cases, they are going to look at your personal credit profile. So that's going to be the first step, building out your personal credit profile so that it aligns with what banks and lenders need to see to get you access to your first 50 to 100K. So I work with that. I offer, I also have, like, we do credit repair, we help with trade lines, both authorized users and primaries. I want to explain briefly what those are, specifically primaries. So, when you've gone through the credit repair process, more than likely your credit is going to be what's considered thin. In other words, you may have, like, after the aftermath of wiping everything clean, you may not have any credit, or maybe you only have like one credit card, maybe an auto if you do, or whatnot. And when a bank looks at your credit profile and they see that, it's going to look like as if you don't have any credit. So they're not going to approve you, or if they will approve you, it's going to be for a super low amount. So primaries come in to pretty much replace the derogatories that you had, where we needed to remove the entire account as a result. So we could report, like, we can, and primaries are, reporting primaries is done by data furnishers. So I'm connected with data furnishers that can report, let's say, a backdated $25,000 revolving line, like revolving credit card. So it'll look as if you applied and got approved for a $25,000 card 4 years ago, versus with a authorized user, it's showing up as someone else's credit whose payment history is reporting onto your profile. And that those are two different things. With primaries, you can also report like a paid off car, or a paid off personal loan, or even a paid off real estate. So, and again, the connections that I have to make this happen is, these are not things that I'm over here sharing up on Instagram or whatever the case is, because this is something that can help people a lot. If you have a way where you can pretty much set up your profile to make it look like what a bank and lender needs to see, then great. Because it's like, okay, well, if I'm looking for a house, then let me show that I have a paid off house. I'm definitely going to get approved for a good bit of house, and probably at the lowest interest rate, because I was able to report a paid off house. Or if I'm looking to, purchase me a $50,000 car or a $75,000 car, if I'm reporting, but I haven't gotten a car report, but if I was able to have a um, an auto reporting onto an auto account reporting onto my credit, that I paid it off 3-4 years ago. Now I'm able to um, go to a car dealership and get me a car of equal or greater value. So yeah, we have access to those that we can report on your report. Again, it's a pay to play type of thing. Of course, you can go buy a car, pay it off in 3 years, and you'll have that on there, or B, pay X amount of money to wait 30 to 45 days for that to report onto your profile. So, it's neither, the world of credit is super vast, and there are different ways that we can help. Um, but I'd like to end this by saying, if you have strong credit, you will be set for most of things. You're 50 to 60% of the way there, depending on what route you want to take. So yeah.
This was good. I don't know if y'all, like, if this went over your head, y'all, or if y'all was catching what you were saying. But it's so, and I know I have to let you go, but it's so cool. What I got, biggest thing from this is that, like, if you don't have it, you go and get it, and it's like, it's not as stressful as it might seem. Biggest first step, fix your credit. After that, the sky is the limit. Like, once you have that credit profile built out, and if you don't have the thing, then you just go and get it. And Lavetta here is a one-stop shop. So she can get all of these things done and has access to all of these things. So it's just cool to see, like, the playing field is now leveled. Whereas if you wanted to save $100,000, it might take you a lifetime. Or we could set it up the right way one time and then go fund all of your businesses. If you have 3 businesses, you go fund all 3 of them, So I just appreciate you taking your time. Also, Lavetta, does this, right? So if you know, like, okay, I'm ready to get funding, I'm ready to lock in, I would highly recommend just booking a strategy call with her so she can look at your direct situation and you see that she does like creative funding strategies, right? So together, you guys work together to come up with a creative strategy that gets you to your end goal. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna add the link in the chat right now.
Perfect. And I can share this in, I know you guys are coming from different um, business coaching from me. So I'll put it in whatever group you guys came from. But again, thank you so much for your time today. This was like so good. You're really a wealth of knowledge. And I hope this was good for y'all because I
Yeah,
enjoyed listening.
I really hope this was super helpful. I mean, again, I'm always able to answer questions a lot more clear and precise when I have something in front of me in terms of a like a profile and then put together a plan of action. And so if you all are open, like, I have strategy calls where we can do it privately, or if anyone wants to, we want to have like a hot seat situation where someone is like, okay, well, let's just put dicks on the table for lack of better words. Again, guys, by the way, I should have probably said that. I am a what's the word? I have the language of a sailor. But like my brain is very super visual. So that's what I was meaning. Like sometimes it's like, hey, let's just put balls to the wall, throw it all in one space, and let's just get to work. Then we could do that as well. Where it's like, okay, just put let's have like your credit report just on full display and we can just line it line by line by line. Absolutely. Hashtag balls to the wall.
I love
So,
it.
and we could just kind of be like, hey, this is why this is happening. And a lot of information, I'm super grateful as you guys could tell, I'm super passionate about this. But I have absolutely enjoyed being able to kind of give insight to people as to why this is why you are getting denied for low limits. This is why, that like these banks are over here not wanting to give it a second chance. Like there are so many different things to like look at. Like, okay, this may be off your report, but did you look at the secondary bureaus? That's a whole different ball game. Like there's so many different things as to why. And just being able to just look under the hood and talk shop is something I enjoy doing. So again, excuse my French and my potty mouth. Um, yeah, this is not a church.
Thank you. Thank you again. You guys, the link is there, but I'm gonna grab it really quick and I'll put it in the chat as well. Take advantage of the opportunity while you have the opportunity. And then, yep, if you're open to doing like a full on, like maybe in a, you know, 2 weeks or so, we can do another call with Paradise's profile so everybody can get a more tangible feel of like what this really looks like.
Absolutely. Well, I'm super excited. Yeah, we could, and like there are plenty of ways we can go about it. I can have like show a case study of here's what we did for this profile, and here's what we did now in terms of and how it was able to, get them the success they were looking for. So, plenty of ways we can split it. But I am so happy to meet each and every one of you, especially the ones that I spoke with, or spoke to Paradise. Well, I don't think I spoke with Keisha. Um, who else did I speak with? Chef Nyla. And yeah, I mean, hopefully, I can be able to speak with the rest of you guys another time.
All right, guys, have a good night.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. You guys be safe. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.